Hello and good morning friends, welcome to the CEC-UGC live lecture. Dear friends, as you know that we are carrying a series on PR as skill, and so far we have conducted numerous sessions under this very series. We have tried to understand about various aspects and perspectives under the series PR as skill. Today we would be talking on writing skills for public relations, how writing skills helps and enhance public relations, and how writing skills are an important means of communication when public relation activity is done. For this very discussion, we have once again with us within our studios Mrs. Nirmal Bhatnagar. Mrs. Nirmal Bhatnagar is a renowned academician as well as she is an advisor to various institutions. She has been helping lots and lots of people, institutions and organizing in finding out problems to the whatever problems they are facing with the help of PR. So dear friends, I would like to welcome our guest Mrs. Nirmal Bhatnagar, under whose able guidance we would be discussing on whole that how writing skills helps in PR. Hello ma'am, welcome to the EduSet lecture.
Thank you very much. And I'm very happy to talk to children and talk to all of you about what are public relations tactics. You know, generally people misunderstand this concept of public relations, and we all feel that public relations is not professionalized in many of the areas. And many people feel that anybody and everybody who's good at talking, who's good at socializing, can become a PR successful public relations person. But unfortunately it is not so. Public relations is a very what you call skilled profession, in which we don't require just speaking what you call talents or being social person, but we require many more skills. And one of the major skills is that you should have a very good command on your writing. Now, what are these writing skills? You all know that in public relations jobs, the major job required is to project, to promote, and to make your company, your organization, your country, or whatever way you're working, known to the world, known in the perspective that you want them to know you. Now, for doing this, writing skills are absolutely necessary, because there are so many productions which one has to do as a PR, and these are, I'm going to explain to you one by one today. The first and the very foremost is that you should know about what is happening around you, your current affairs, your thinking about various social, political and economic issues which are facing not only your own company but surrounding industry, other industries and country as well as international fields. Once you know about them, it's not just that you can talk about them. You may use them in writings wherever possible. Now, first of all, a public relations person is supposed to produce a brochure, a booklet for the company. Now, a brochure and a booklet is an information per thing. I mean, like anybody who comes in, anybody who walks in and wants to know something about your company, you hand him over a booklet or a brochure or a small little leaflet. Now, for this, where do you get the write-up? Who does the write-up? How do you select the photographs? And who does the photography selection? Is for the PR person to compile together the various factuals about the company, various USPs, various highlights of the company, and compile them together and keep them ready to use them either in the brochures or in the booklets or in information pamphlets, wherever required in for whatever purposes. Now, if a public relations person knows the facts but does not know how to put them into order, how to write about them, how to let people know what exactly we want them to know, it's going to be a big failure. And he cannot engage a writer or somebody to call for ordinary writings and engage a person. It will be too expensive for the company. So a PR must have the tact to write for a brochure, to organize the page setup, to know which picture would match the brochure where and how to place what on what particular area. Now the second thing about write-up is not only creating brochures and information pamphlets. There are many times your chairman, your senior officers want to give a speech. They want to talk to either the internal or external public. By now I am sure you all know what are internal and what are external public. Internal public are the people who are your own organizers, your own employees, whereas the external public are those people who you get in touch with anywhere and every day or occasionally, but they are not your employees, but they are your contact people. Now for internal and external people, many times your chairman, your senior officers, even your departmental heads, they like to write something or speak something. Now it's the job of the PR to ensure, to assist them, to ensure that how to project whatever are the ideas, that in the current times you may call doing content writing, getting the content from them, getting their ideas, producing a little write-up of their speech or a paper which they want to give, and putting before them so that they can edit, they can adopt, they can work on it. So PR is a help not only in creating brochures and booklets, but also in assisting the top people, the colleagues, the directors and other people to write their speeches, to address people, guide them what points could be more effective and even how they are placed together. In addition, there are a number of times we have report writing. The concerned department write their reports. There is no doubt they are their experts. They write the reports and they know how to write the reports. They have their own content, but to give it a what you call pep up, to give it a flowery look, to decorate it out is the job of the PR. If a PR is competent enough and has good relations with the departmental heads and with the various department people, they are definitely going to ask what colors to put, how to plan out the visuals into the report, what intro should be given to the report, what should be the layout of the report. Now these are very, very important things. So that means that PR should have full knowledge on the write-ups, on the layouts, on the production side also. Now these all come into written communication. This does not end here. We have another section of written communication which is very important for public relations people, and that is going into press write-ups. Now what are press write-ups? Number of times we have to interact with the media people, the press people. Now media today is not only limited to what you call print medium, it is not limited only to writing for newspapers or sending a news release. Things are getting very, very specialized, and with cyber communication coming in, with e-communication coming in, now you have to learn how to give a report on cyber, how to give a comprehensive report for the press people in the language they use, to make sure that they use your report without having much of the hassles. Now for this, it is necessary that public relations people should know how to write for media. Now writing for media is not something that you do when you write for ordinary write-ups like an article or write a report or write something, but releasing a press release or writing a news release is something which is more specialized. You all know by now that in media writing, news writing is something like upside down pyramid. What is an upside down pyramid? That means you must say what you want to say on the top. don't build any intros, don't try to create a lot of scenarios. Just say, suppose you want to say that your company has achieved a certain result. Don't say the company was working over so many years, this happened, that happened, and then finally come down to your main story telling them that the company has achieved this. In press writing, it is the upside down story. How do we do it? Reverse the pyramid or upside down the story. We first say the company achieves 75% of its target. That is the first, and then you say how it is achieved, and then you progress backward and towards the end. So it is very necessary for a PR person, whosoever he or she wants to take up this profession, to achieve, to practice, to have full knowledge of writing news releases. See, the news people do not have much of time to glance through your 2-page, 3-page or a long write-up and study everything and take out points out of that. You have to give them pointers, and the pointers should be to the point and giving factual situations. Create their interest in the first few lines of your news so that they know how they have to proceed, whether they want to take this news or they want to reject it right at the offset. Now, if this is it, it becomes very necessary that a PR person should have full knowledge of press write-ups. Apart from press write-ups, there are other things. Sometimes you want to give an article to the press people. What is an article writing? How do we write an article? What is a brief? What is a backgrounder? These are all the terminologies which we require to do press write-ups, that is media write-ups. When you call a media press conference, what are the points you should learn to put before your chairman? What are the highlights you have to give? What backgrounders you want to give to your press people? All those things have your command on written communication. So please remember, first we talked about the written communication for official publications, day-to-day information pamphlets. Then I brought you to official communication or writing skills in supporting speeches and discussion panels, etc., for your senior officers. And the third point that I brought to you is to write and know how do we write for press people, for the media people. You know that media is, as I was telling you in the beginning, not limited to print medium. There are medium which is now audio-visual. There are medium which is now audio also. Audio medium is radio. How do you write for radio and read for radio? How do you give an information on radio? What language to use? What should be your way of writing so that a person just listening can understand the point of view that you want to give? Then we came down to audio-visual. Audio-visual is when people are looking at you. I tell you, it is very necessary to have your communication. Your visual communication has to be there, your expressions have to be there, your assertion on a certain point has to be there, but all these need again your backup on written communication. If you have written enough, if you have mugged it enough, if you know what you are trying to say, if your write-up is complete and your backgrounder is with you, I am sure you will be a very successful person in conveying and in public relations, conveying, making your point of view, asserting yourself is absolutely necessary. Then apart from these things, there are so many other written communication skills that need to be developed by a PR personality. To be a successful PR personality, you should have full knowledge of advertising. Advertising is not that you should be a good advertiser yourself, but at least the basic knowledge, the minimum knowledge of advertising is very necessary for a PR personality. Now, why do I insist on this? There are certain issues which make you important in advertising world. Now, if your company is advertising something, the write-ups created by the advertising agency on the advertisement, the spoken words the advertisement has to carry, the slogan the advertisement carries, it is the job of the PR to interact and to find out there is nothing wrong into it, nothing illegal, nothing that can create a wrong image for your company. So it is very necessary that you should know what is a slogan, what is a body write-up, you should know what should be the punchline, you should have a full knowledge on the advertising side. So gradually what I am trying to take you into is that a PR person is not only a spokesperson, he has an in-depth knowledge on all these fields of written communication, which is absolutely and utterly necessary for a PR person to become a real successful person in this field of public relations. Apart from advertising interaction, there are many, many more things. That is, for a company, you write circulars, you interact with the staff, you interact with unions, you are a part of the meetings. Now, how much you know depends on what write-ups you have for yourself. A PR person not only does write-ups for others, but maintains files of write-ups for himself or herself also. What exactly do I mean by this? That is, when you come across a news, when you come across a story, when you read an article, when you think certain things are good, take the case of birthdays of big celebrities. On the birthdays of big celebrities, you find lots of quotes. These quotations are all over the newspapers, all over the magazines, all over the walls. Now, some of these quotations are sometimes very interesting, very useful, and as a PR, it becomes your duty, it becomes a part of your professional ethics that you pick up these quotations and keep a file of them in your own room, because you might need them sometimes. Like maybe it's a quotation by ex-Prime Minister or Rabindranath Tagore or Mahatma Gandhi, or maybe somebody from international field. And when I'm looking for an article, or when I'm preparing a speech or a brochure or a booklet or some information pamphlet, I do require some antidotes, and this is where I can put these little quotations, these jokes, these little things that I see here and there. Now, suddenly when you are sitting for a write-up, you don't come across many things, and it takes a lot of time to find out kahan hai, kaise dhoonde, where do I find it. So what do? If we are a vigilant and a good PR, what we do is we keep collecting these things from various occasions and maintaining a file of our own. If you come across a good article somewhere, so not only reading, I did insist, and I'm sure in previous lectures you've said, reading is a very big asset for public relations. He should be a voracious reader. He should read everything. Sometimes trash also you read. Sometimes you read the most scandalous things. But you read literature, you read articles, you read speeches, you read so much. But just reading is not enough. What you need is, apart from reading, you require something more. You jot out certain lines out of that. You note down certain ideas out of these things. That is, you should have a personal file in which you quote from this lecture, this article, from this place. So when you read, your mind is not so big that all the time everything remains with you. There are times when your things leave you, you forget. So what you do is that you ensure that when you read something and something interesting comes your reading, you jot out. Suppose I'm reading a book. As a good PR, I've come across a new book and I'm just glancing through the book, and a certain paragraph gives a certain factuals about that somebody. A certain paragraph is giving a story about something which probably I don't know. I should write it out and jot it out in my personal file, so that maybe sometimes when I am doing a write-up, I use it and I try to create a more interesting, what you call, speech, or a more interesting write-up, or a more interesting information brochure from my own company. Now, as I am talking to you, you must be thinking that whatever ma'am is saying is a very difficult task to do. But I can assure you one thing, once you develop the habit of writing, once you pick up your pen and you know that your job is writing also, maybe you do it with pen. Now the times have changed. If you're sitting on your computer and you're doing e-writing, you always do some writings, you always add on here and there. The biggest asset at the moment for the young people is what we call Google. You all know that you can have search engines, you can search topics, you can find details, you can find the latest information. So it becomes very necessary that off and on, to improve your writing skills as a public relations personality, you should open your search engines. You should find topics which are concerning your industry. You should find the latest information available, not only nationally, locally, but also internationally, so that you know that information. If you can hook out, have a printout, well, it might be a long this thing, but when you have opened your search engine, it is advisable that you sit with a pen and pad on your side, or a pen and paper on your side, and jot out whatever you see is worth writing, maybe 2 lines, 4 lines, maybe some words, because there are certain words which other people have used and use them in a very, very appropriate manner, which may not be able to come to our mind, but which can explain things very well. So, as a PR, to enhance my written communication, I should not be shy to pick up those words and have them on my vocabulary, on my jotting pad, so that as and when it comes to my writing something, I am able to go ahead with those words, use them, and create a better write-up, a more effective writer. Have you ever read the writings, the articles that newspapers and good magazines carry? You know, all these professional write-ups and good magazines have people who are into a brain work. They do their brainstorming through number of things. They are good listeners, they are good observers, they listen to people, they catch words, they pick up things, they see factuals, and then they jot them down. And these jottings they use here and there, because human brain has so many things, and many times many things collide with each other and we are not able to remember everything together. But there are times when, if we have jottings and if we keep turning pages of our diary or a booklet that we have created as a personal booklet for ourselves in PR, it helps us in finding new ideas, in putting our ideas in a better format before others. So please remember one thing, as I am progressing on my lecture with you, I am insisting only on one point, that public relations is not only communicating, but communicating well. And communication is not limited to talking. Communication is not limited only to body language. A very major part, a very important part of communication still remains written communication. There are so many advantages of written communication. You must have heard in the initial lectures of public relations. Initially, when we study communication, we teach what you call oral communication, we teach verbal communication, we teach what we call expressive body language communication, but all these get together into one, and that is called written communication. So please do not, what you call, forget that your pen, your mind, your write-up, whether it's on electronics or whether it is on your pad or it is on computer or whether it is on a booklet or it is by hand, has a very, very important role to make you or to give you success in the field of public relations. Now, as we are going ahead on our PR and written communication, many of our students today feel that they don't have good command on writing. And obviously with more of electronic media coming into, people are losing their command on language. People are using what you call computer language, which is you just use half a word or abbreviations for words. Well, that's fine enough. But please remember, when we write, when we are explaining to others, we don't expect that the audience we are using knows what we are writing. We are giving information to the audience, and when we give information, we write, we speak in the language of the audience. We don't speak in the language that we think is the best language. So we have to orient our language accordingly. So writings have to be keeping in mind who is your reader, who is your listener, who is your audience. Now, in many cases, a PR is divulging information to lots of public who are not of one nature. Maybe they are not all intellectuals, maybe they are not all consumers, they are not only the people on the road, they are not very well educated, they are middle class educated, they are people who are not at all educated. So your public is divided into several units, and every time you are creating a write-up, whether it is a booklet, whether it's a brochure, whether it's a pamphlet, you have to first think, for whom am I writing? Who is going to read this? Is the person educated enough? Is the person an intellectual? Is a person is a very higher person who is very well read? Or if a person is just a middle educated person who knows, is not very attentive on his reading. Now accordingly I should be able to control my writing. My writing skills have to be so much in command with me that I should know when to write what and for whom. Now, in writing skills, as I am telling you, the language plays a very important role. Many of us who become PRs in the high-up companies or the very big organization or institutes or even in government or in public sector or in NGOs, we forget that English is not the only language. So your writing skills do not get confined to only English. Your persons who are listening to you, your listeners, your people around are the ones who understand several types of writings. Now, if they understand multiple writings, then you have to have your command on local language. You should have a command on the general language, that is Hindustani. You should have a command on English. You should know several styles of writing yourself. That is, if I have to convey in a local language, I should be in a command how to convey, what to convey, whether I am conveying it rightly or wrongly. So please remember, written communication has a very, very big value for a successful PR career. Not only socializing, not only just creating yourself as a person who is popular person, a person who is needed by people, a person who can jabble around or talk around on any subject is a success story. Success story comes with your very big command on written communication. So please remember, I'm going to proceed further on other writings, but I think by now you should have understood that how important it is to have your written communication commands. We will continue further on this after a little break, please. Well, friends, you have been hearing me and I have been telling you importance of written communication. But a big question mark comes here. It's very nice to guide you, it's very nice to preach you, but how do we develop the writing communication skills? How do we improve ourselves on writing skills? Everybody does not have writing skill coming to a person from the beginning. You can develop your writing skills, and in this section I am going to tell you small little points. How do you develop yourself into good writer? Good writer means how do you develop your PR writing skills? There are several ways you can talk about, and I am going to give you small tips on it, and I am sure if you try to work on them, don't get disappointed that since you can't write, you cannot be a PR. We all can be PR if you are a smart person, if you are able to communicate. Since you are not able to write very well, we will tell you how to start writing. Now, to start with, number one, it is very necessary to be a good writer. You should be a good reader. Read things. Read your newspaper. Language is the best language. Why we call it the best language? When the newspaper and the magazines they write for public, for common people, for everybody who reads them. So the language is very well what you call picked. So be a regular reader, be a regular newspaper reader. It will give the advantage of not only knowledge, not only your current affairs, not only what is happening around you, but will learn inside you the language they write, the words they use. Now, for the beginners who want to learn journalistic writing, I did tell you about how to go about writing news releases, press communications, media communications. Now, to learn to write them, I have a methodology which I have been trying with young people, young students of mine, and it has been very successful. Pick up a newspaper or a magazine. Cut out the news that you like to read. Pick up any news. Initially you can pick up a small news, pick it up, cut it out, take a copybook, paste it on the left hand side of your copybook. Once you have pasted that news with its headline, read it once or twice and then try to reproduce it on the next page, that is on the right hand page of the copybook. the same news in your own language. The news should remain the same, substance of the news should remain the same, but try to use your own language and then read your own writing and read the news back again. You will find that you are slightly not up to the mark, but gradually if you have done 10 such things, you can do it one day. I am not going to press you for more than one a day, but if you try it one every day, gradually if you have done 10, 12, 15, 20, your copybook, you will find that your writing skills have improved a lot. You have learned how to write a journalistic language, how to prepare a news release. It will be very easy for you to write a news release. Gradually you will find very bored with the news that you picked and reproduced, and you then should take up to editorials. There is something called editorials in newspapers. In magazines there are bigger news, there are comments. Cut out those and paste them on the left hand side of your copybook, and on the right hand read it out once, twice, 3 times, 4 times till you really understand what is the central point out of it, what are they trying to say, and how point wise are they trying to explain it out. Once you have learned that, reproduce it in your own language on the right hand side paper. Fill up your copybook with gradual interest you will develop, and every day you will say, oh, I should do something in my copybook today. And I can assure you, 1 month, 2 months, gradually you will start from a teeny weeny small news to a big editorial and an article in a newspaper or a magazine. You will reproduce that and you will feel, yes, I have added 2 new points into it. When you get a command on writing, you will feel that you are getting more and more knowledge, and not knowledge, you have started adding your own point of view also at the end of the article or in the beginning, and you have started disagreeing with many things, and you say, no, I don't agree with what this man says. He might feel like this, I feel like that. So you will write that, no, I think this is not the solution could be this. This is not the way to deal with it, this problem should have been dealt like this. So gradually you will find that your writing control, the control on your write-ups, the way you write up, the way you carry out your work has become much interesting, and not only interesting, you've started developing a taste for writing. Now this is one way of doing your work and finding yourself into press write-ups. Then in addition, I told you have to write for booklet and brochures and sometimes information pamphlets. Now again, keep reading the pamphlets and the booklets produced by other people. See, if you are in the basic side of the public relations, you are still entering some place and you are not very sure how do we plan out things, how a brochure is done. Collect brochures from various organizations, from various companies, from various people, maybe in your own industry, how people produce their information booklets and pamphlets. You must have seen many places you go, especially when you go to exhibitions, especially Pragati Maidan and these big exhibitions, even international exhibitions. People give you their pamphlets, they give you their booklets, they give you their brochures. And we just say, "Arey, what nonsense, what big bundle," we throw them away, we leave them aside. But I tell you, for a PR person, it's not right. You bring them home, glance through them, that will give you an idea how the layouts are done. Sometimes you get a wonderful idea to know, okay, well, how well this person has explained, the layout is so pretty, how they have played their photographs, what write-ups have they given, how did they highlight in the first paragraph and how did they go writing the major points, the pointers towards the end. So, many things you learn by reading, by observing, by going through the other people's work. It is never, bad. It's not that I am a copycat. You are not a copycat. You are drawing ideas, you are learning from 20, 40, 50 people. And when you learn, and you'll find that as you have learned so many, your own ideas start emerging out. You start feeling, well, this could have been better done like this. Why put a caption under the what you call the photograph? Why can't I put a caption by the side of the photograph? Or why can't I roll up 4 photographs together into a collide sort of thing, or a collision, and then produce something around them, or write up on one side? So your own ideas emerge when you see. So here comes the point, which again is a PR quality, that is your observation, your learning power, your open-mindedness. A PR is never a close-minded person. He or she has to keep a mind open. I, being a PR, cannot say, look, I know everything. I don't care what you do. I'm the best. You are never the best. World is moving faster, going ahead, ahead, ahead. And with every step the world is taking ahead, things are changing. Environments are changing. Technology is changing. The information systems are changing. And you have to move with them. And for moving with them, it's very necessary that you keep your mind, you keep your ideas, you keep your flexibility with you. Unless you're flexible enough to learn from others, unless you know how to adapt things in the new environments. Maybe I am an old PR person, and I know that in my time the PR was to write a brochure in which you only talk about your company, good things. We never try to say what are my weaknesses. But gradually I find, as I see the world moving, people want to know what are the shortfalls of a particular product. They do not only want to know what are the goody points about a product, they want to know more. The knowledge has gone so high, and the knowledge is not only that I produce a very drab looking brochure. Maybe they want something more in that. Maybe they want the information on a CD now. Maybe they want information on their computers. Social media has picked up. And writing in social media is something which is very challenging. And as a PR, I am now going to take you into the field of social media. Social media are, you all know that messages you get on your phone calls, the messages everybody gets, everybody can hook on computer any message, anybody can talk to you through modern devices. So social media is something which is meant for society, anybody and everybody. So this makes the task of PR writings very specialized. What should you write? You have limited space, you have limited technology access. So how do you carry out? You carry out with limited words, but words which are very appropriate. The message clarity, information needs to be given in a short form, not in the long explanatory manner. The write-up today has to be short and piercing. It should go right into the mind of the reader, and it should be short. The words have to be well chosen, simple words, understandable message, full of information and thought-provoking. So if these are the challenges before the new PR world, then the PR people have to make themselves more open, more acceptable. Their writing skills, their thinking skills need to be developed much faster. They have to forget about the older methodologies and they have to go on adopting. So PR mind has to be very open. Your write-ups, don't think once you have learned the methodologies, I am telling you to go on writing, reading, observing and then adopting a style of writing. No. People get bored with one style of write-ups and they consider them to be stereotype. They say, oh my God, same way, same way. There are many writers, if you read the books even, you know, my God, his language is the same. He's writing the same. One or two books, one or two articles, and you start getting bored with that type of thing. You say, no, human beings are running on a very faster pace on information, and so you have to go on adopting. You have to adapt yourself into the new technology, adopt new technology, adopt something new, something that attracts people, something that they bring to you. They understand, they want to read more about what you have done. So please remember, it is absolutely, utterly necessary. Not only these small little write-ups that I'm talking about, press write-ups, social messages, using different type of methodologies for different type of write-ups. It's become a part of PR world. A PR needs to be alert on his writing skills. Not only observe that I've just observed and I'm crushed and I'm happy about it. I'm a very knowledgeable person. I go to society, I sit with 20 other senior executives and I can speak and I feel I'm very good. I can socialize, I have good manners, I have good language, I can speak, I can interact. Interaction is a very important part. But in addition, the base lies in your writing skill control. If you have a control on the writing skills, I can assure you one thing, that PR world is the world you need to go as a career top. In the career of PR, your control on writing becomes absolutely necessary. Now, we'll take you to small little points in PR writing. Number one, writing for a brochure needs a lot of observation on photographic visuals. Writings, too much of writing, too much of what you call explanation, reading is very boring for the eyes. You need a break for your eyes, and that break comes in the photographs, graphics, on what you call some sort of figure work or cartoons or an antidote. So writing skills not only take you to a straight write-up, but where you can use some examples, some photographs, some graphics, you can take an antidote. And for this, as I was telling you, you should keep a jot out for yourself, a personal file on which wherever you read something good. Sometimes I go across the road and I'm sitting in the car or maybe in a vehicle or in a bus. I sometimes see very interesting things written at the back of the trucks or the scooters, or sometimes on the walls. People write, you're traveling in the train, and on the walls as you come across near the station, you find people have written some lovely slogans, and sometimes they make you smile also. But sometimes these slogans intrigue you. It's a writing skill. So, like take the case of a chane wala standing on the roadside. He concocts a slogan for himself and he says karare chane, chatpate chane or something like that. And you just feel attracted to go to him and buy the chana or something like that. There's so many slogans all over. So observation, and many times I take out my diary, a little paper for my purse, and I jot out certain things which are very interesting, because these as a PR I use in my communication. My communication, not only when I speak, but when I am talking, not only use a joke I've heard somewhere, a nice little sentence I've heard somewhere, or a quotation I've read somewhere, but I use them when I create my writings. So please remember, in PR world, learning is no end. You can't say that I am a master of my control, my pen is my, the biggest success point. No. With this pen, you need to observe. With this pen, you have to create something new every day. The same brochure, you must have seen, there are organizations. I have seen number of them going towards the success story, when every year they produce a little write-up for themselves or a small little this thing, they write the same things, only update the figures into it. It's not right. it's never a good PR action. You pick up 20 institutes, brochures or booklets, information brochures. Now it's the admission time, lots of organizations have very good PRs, they're very big universities, colleges, they're very big institutes, and I've seen number of government institutes also. They create brochures and booklets which are called information booklets, and they pass them on to the young people who come to them. And there are people who are passing information, the same stereotype things, except they change the figures. Last year we had 20, this year we had 30. This was like this is like this. Last year 30 students did this year 35 students did. This is very boring, very boring. Please ensure that your writing commands are with you. You should create something new, you should change the concepts, you should go with the moving world. So please remember, writing is not only something that you have to learn. Writing is something where your mind is under your control, your thoughts are under your control, and when your pen moves, it moves with something new. And that is only possible if you've been around the area, if you know what is happening around, if your observation, if your listening power, if your expressive powers are good enough. Please ensure that writing command is something without which a success in PR career is absolutely, absolutely no. So to repeat it back to you, I'll come down to the importance of writings. Importance of writing, number one, any PR is expected to write all the information brochures, booklets, or we all also say all the company publications are to be written by PR. Now these, even I've seen very, very good companies where even the balance sheets, which are totally an accounts thing, their introduction part, the chairman's speech part, the beginning part, people try to ask a PR man, can we add something? Would you like to go through it and create something new into it? That is, you should be able to, in a company, be able to contribute on all the information publications of the company. And that information you can create by your good write-ups. Then we come down to, I've brought you to day-to-day work in writing. Day-to-day work is internal communication, a brochure, a booklet for the internal public. Talking to people is not enough. You circulate information. Maybe you develop a house magazine in which you give to the people information on what is happening in the company day to day. How do you orient people to write for your house journal? Now these are all part of PR activities. Then we brought you to the press relations, media write-ups. Media write-ups, I told you how to write for news, how to give the news of your organization. What is article writing? What is writing the backgrounders for the media people? How do you give information to the media people, factual information in writing? What are the points? How do we explain those points? Again, your writing commands comes into your success story. Then I took you to another side, that is, we called about writing for, your own purposes, writing articles, blogs, writing, creating things on social media. Now these they all require writing skills. And the best method that I can assure you to improve your writing skill is to write. More you write, you become more and more confident in your writing. If you stop writing, you're only talking, then your writing skill starts going down. You lose your confidence in writing. You can write on cyber, you can write on e-journalism, you can write on your computers, mobiles, but please write. And do not think if you're writing on computers, you should forget about your written communication, that is your pen part. Write on paper also. Paper writing is something that is yours. something that you can retain with you, which you can improve, which you can work on. So I still feel, despite all the new technologies, your written commands require a lot of reading power. More you read, more you reproduce in your writing. Then I gave you a very foolproof methodology, and I again repeat, please, to start writing, pick up your newspaper, pick up anything that you have read, and try to reproduce it in your own words. Try to pick up the highlights of that in your own words, and gradually, if you can, try to give it a title also, give it a headline also, so that gradually over a month or 2 months, if done about 20-30 write-ups like this, you will find your confidence coming in, and you will reproducing highlights of articles written by very well-known people. You can even start on small booklets. Pick up the story booklets here and there. Pick up a story, read it, and then try to reproduce it in your own words, in a not losing the story part of it, but at least put it in your own words, not in the writer's words. And you will find that, my God, I can't write even one paragraph. I have read it so well, I have understood it so well. That shows that you're losing your command on writing. As a good PR, kindly do not ever lose your command on your writer. Writing skills are the basic thing for a successful career in public relations. So I insist that every PR personnel, whether working or heading for this profession, should have a command on writing skills. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much for insisting persistently that how writing skills are very, very important for the PR person, and it is a very, very important PR activity also, as Mrs. Nirmal Bhatnagar continuously stressed on. As ma'am, we have a few minutes left over with us. We have seen many a times PR persons with whatever organizations they are attached to, they tend to carry out a tagline. So could we say that it is also a part of the PR activity?
Absolutely. You know, these taglines which you call, or these are the ones which a PR, if he or she is experienced enough and has good knowledge, as I'm telling you, can be created. You know, every organization, you can have people participate into it, but a PR can compile them together, make about 10-20 taglines, and then find out one. Because tagline these days is very, very important to project out your company. And I think you've got it at a very right point, that writing tags, not necessarily writing blogs. You know, the blog writing is something, you create a little blog and put it on the website of your company, and people know what is happening. So these are some new concepts in writing world. Again, you know, many of the people in the company take the help of PR to get associated with such new concepts in new technologies.
Writing for a company and making the others to write for the company, does the two things come under the same umbrella?
Yes, they do. If you can provide enough information. See, as a PR, if you are very well, you are very well knowing what is happening, everything about company, the industry, where your company stands in the industry, where your institute stands in the industry, in the international field or national field. Suppose take the case of a country. Internationally, if I know where India stands, what are the stands in economic, social, political way, I should be able to provide so much information to the others, so that they can write about India very well, the magazines, the others. This is one way of projecting your own country. Similar thing can be applied to companies as well as institutes also.
In one way or the other, in this sense, I would say that we would be getting the feedback what others think about us. So dear friends, if you also have good words for us, or if you have any kind of suggestions for us, then you can mail us at info.cc@nic.in. This is a kind of PR activity we tend to maintain with you. If you are liking your lectures, please mail us at info.cc@nic.in. And I would like to thank Mrs. Nirmal Bhatnagar once again for giving us a deep insight right into the topic, writing skills for public relations. We would be meeting again very soon. Till then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much.